I was lying in bed and I realised something. You know when you hate your siblings? Yeah, we all do. And then you're like, oh, well, you're the adopted one. And you don't really mean it. It's kind of a joke. But, like, my brother's actually adopted. So, I'd be really mean if I went up to him and be like, oh, you're the adopted sibling.
Have that one friend that has McDonald's Wi-Fi and has absolutely trash internet. And I'm just convinced that their router is built like this, bro. They legit lag out of every game they play. And they just get off due to pure frustration. And if they happen to be lucky and stay in the game, they'd be playing on 4,000 ping and manage to get stuck underground.
Hate. 1. When I go out. 2. When I don't go out. 3. When I eat too much. 4. When I don't eat. 5. When I sleep too much. 6. When I don't sleep. 7. When I answer her when she's talking. 8. When I don't answer her when she's talking.
There's a really good Italian restaurant called Michelli's, and they have singing waiters and waitresses there. Bonus! So after we're done with our delicious Italian food, here come the singing waiters and waitresses singing happy birthday to me. And it wasn't even my birthday. Instead of cake, it was spumoni ice cream with some candles stuck in it. And when they get to the part where they say my name, it wasn't even my name. And then I glance over at the table next to us, and they have this really weird look on their face like that was supposed to be our spumoni birthday ice cream. So we kind of just got free ice cream that night.
Spanish. So sometimes when I talk to her in English, she'll forget a word or two, but not a problem. She'll just create new words. Words no one else was brave enough to use. She took my little cousins to the mall once, and this is what she told me when she got back. She was like, it was so cute. I took the kids on one of those, El Horse Tornado or whatever. You know what it is. I'm sorry. El Horse Tornado? I'm gonna need you to elaborate. And she was like, you know what I'm talking about. You put that attitude down, you put it down. I was like, okay, putting it down. Sorry. She said, don't try me. I'll kick your ass. And I was like, you don't need to kick my ass. Just put me in a horse tornado. I'll be terrified. You think you're funny? Mom, how would you act if someone said that to you in Spanish? Tornado de caballos. That sounds horrifying. She was like, okay, that's pretty funny.
School. And it's a pretty nice school. I'm friends with some people, whatever. Well, we have a substitute coming on a Friday. And on Fridays, everybody gets popcorn at our school. So we're all in class eating our popcorn when the substitute comes up to this girl we'll call Taylor. So the substitute kind of just stands over her and watches her eat her popcorn. And then she goes, you shouldn't eat that, you're a pig. And dude, she started crying. So she gets up to the front of the classroom and she's like talking about how much we should be eating, practically body shaming a bunch of 4th graders. And she keeps going up to this girl, Taylor, and just freaking, like, calling her a pig, calling her nasty, like, literally coming for her. And then I think she dropped some on the floor, and, like, dude, the teacher went off on her. Eventually, she got so mad, she grabbed a desk and flipped it over. So Taylor was obviously crying for the rest of the day because this teacher was literally body shaming her. So the following Monday, when the teacher comes back, we all tell her what happened. And that sub got fired like that.
Try last night. So the coffee shop that I work at also has ice cream. And so this lady had brought in her granddaughter to get ice cream. This little girl's probably about 4 or 5 years old. And she asked for ice cream with sprinkles. And so I absolutely loaded it with sprinkles because she's a kid and I have a heart. And the entire time this girl's eating her ice cream, she just keeps glancing at me. And right before they're about to leave, the grandmother brings her up and says, okay, tell her what you wanted to tell her. The little girl looks up at me and goes, I think you're a princess. And the grandmother goes, tell her why you think that. And the little girl looks up at me and goes, because you remind me of sunshine.
Biggest lie I ever got away with as a teenager. So my sister and I were going to spend the weekend at my stepdad's, and I asked my parents if I could bring a friend. My dad said he didn't care, and my stepmom said no. And my parents were really strict. But obviously I did not listen. So I invited my friend, and her parents were also really strict. So we came up with this elaborate plan that I would ask her parents and tell them that it was a surprise for her. And they believed it. So the day comes whenever we're supposed to leave to go up to my stepdad's. So, you know, we get off the bus, walk to my house, and my stepmom was asleep because she worked night shifts. So I was able to sneak my friend through the house to my bedroom. Little did she know she was going to have to hide in the closet. So my stepmom came in and needed to borrow a pair of socks for work. And I was literally guarding the closet with my life. And she goes, get away from the closet, you're acting so suspicious, what's in there? Like for part 2, by the way, Stacy and Candace, if you see this, my bad.
When you're scrolling through TikTok, you could be on any video, and then automatically TikTok, like, scrolls down, like, a bajillion videos. Like, I'm sorry, honey, but I'm not finished with the one I was just watching. And you've just scrolled down, like, 10 videos. So then you have to scroll up again to watch the videos that TikTok just told you, no, you don't get to watch these. Does that happen to anyone else? Because I've asked my friends about it, and they said that it doesn't happen to them. What is it about me, TikTok, huh? Why can't I watch videos? Huh?
When I was younger, I swear, when I was younger, I did the dumbest things ever and got hurt in the weirdest way possible. For example, this one time, I was on vacation with my entire family in the most beautiful place ever, which I will not be revealing because I don't remember. And there was a pool in the garden, and the pool was delicious. It even had a little table inside the pool where there was like seats around it, and it was kind of really cool because it also had an umbrella. And obviously, I was a little bit dumb, so I forgot to bring my goggles, and I can't swim without goggles because I just can't. But yeah, I decided to swim from the shallow part of the pool to the deep part of the pool with my eyes closed underwater. And just so you know, on the deep side of the pool was the table with the umbrella on it, and the chairs. Let's keep in mind that the table and the chairs were hard rock with towels on them. And I closed my eyes and started swimming, and guess what? I smacked my forehead against the table. I didn't cry because I'm one of those people that if I see blood, I cry, and if I don't, then I'm fine, you know? And there was no blood. And I was like, no, I'm fine, whatever. And I kept swimming underwater with no goggles, with my eyes closed. And 30 seconds later, this big bump on my head, larger than a freaking tennis ball. And I still have it on my head up to this day. It's still framed onto my forehead. And half of it just never left. Great memories, right, guys? Anyways, you know what's also great memories? Buying my very first item in Luger GG. I was so scared for the first time that I wouldn't be able to get my actual item, and I did, and you do not understand the happiness. It makes MM2 10 times better with having all of your dream items and being able to do whatever you want with them. I really recommend going to visit it because it's super cheap and you get great deals. Anyways, I got my own private server, so be proud of me, you guys. It was really, really, really expensive, and now I'm kind of broke. But it's fine, it's fine. I swear.
Oh my gosh, it is so annoying when you're in class, let's just say you're in a French lesson or something, but your teacher asks everyone a question, like who knows the answer to this, blah blah blah, like they normally do. So you don't put your hand up because you don't know the answer. And they're like, no, Samantha, I've already picked you. Sorry, I know you already know the answer, Erin. You look around and there's like you and 3 other people that don't have their hands up. And then she like, goes ahead and picks you. She's like, go on, you can tell me the answer. I haven't heard from you today. Maybe that's because I don't know any of these questions you're asking me. It's like, I swear sometimes they just get paid to annoy you. Also, another thing is that it's super embarrassing. You'll just look at them and be like, I don't know, sorry. Like in a really, really quiet voice. And everyone will just stare at you. It's like, if I knew the answer, I would put my hand up.
Oh my gosh, story time about when I was 9 years old and was playing in the park, but then soon got rushed to the hospital. So we had just finished school and I was in the school's park with my friend. We were like best friends at the time and we used to love hanging out there together after school. My mom and her friends would also stay in the park, like sitting down on the grass having a picnic all together. So we were just, playing in the park, having fun, and usually there was like this kind of cafe place that was like part of our school where you could buy food and stuff, drinks. So my friend went in there to get some popcorn. She told me to wait outside in the park. So I was just doing cartwheels because I loved doing them at the time. And then I suddenly tripped over this rock and fell onto this metal kind of little bar thing that was like right next to the entrance of the park. So that day I was wearing this skirt with some tights under it, and when I tripped at the time, it hurt, but it didn't hurt that much. Like when you first trip, like it's kind of a shock more than it actually hurting. So I was just like about to stand up going for my day, and I realized I literally couldn't stand up. Like my knee hurted so much that I was practically jumping with one leg, holding onto the rails of the fence. See, at this point I was a little concerned, but not that surprised, because usually tripping would hurt. Then this older guy asked me, like, are you okay? Because he saw me limping, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine, because I thought I was fine. But I wasn't. I went over to my mom, barely being able to walk, and she stood up quickly and asked me, like, what's wrong? And the tights that I was wearing were, like, really dark blue. It could almost look black, so you couldn't really see all the blood that was dripping from my knee. Now I was starting to get a little scared because it was kind of starting to hurt more. So I quickly went to the toilet and put my tights off so I could see my knee. And it looked like a waterfall of blood. I obviously started panicking, and so did my mom, so she quickly carried me and ran to the school nurse because I couldn't walk, so she carried me. And as you probably know, the school nurses aren't much of a help. So when we got to the school nurse, this time she didn't actually tell me to put a pack of ice on my knee, but she told us, she put this plaster over it. Obviously, that didn't help. Then this other doctor came over and we told her what happened, and she told us to go straight to the hospital. What happens next is something I will probably never forget. I'm really sorry to be this person, but I'm running out of time, so come back for part 2. Part 2 of the previous story time. So the school nurse had told us to go straight to the hospital. We were still in the park though, so we had to walk all the way around to get to the exit. The thing is, I couldn't walk, so the school nurses gave us a wheelchair. So my mom was basically pushing me all around the school to get to the exit on a wheelchair. When we finally arrived to the hospital, this doctor took us in. She examined my knee, and then later, after a few minutes of looking at it, she told me that my knee had broken open. There were no broken bones, but still it was quite a severe injury since it was like an open knee, and there was blood dripping out of everywhere. The big plaster that the nurse put on my knee was literally holding on for dear life. I don't think it could keep the blood from dripping any longer. Anyways, so the doctor then told me that I had to get stitches to close my knee. I was terrified since I had never gotten stitches ever, and I was pretty young at the time. But the worst part is that they stitched my knee together without anesthesia. So I was feeling all the pain of them stitching it together, and it felt like hell. To this day, I can still not understand why they didn't give me anesthesia. Anyways, it hurt like crazy, but after she was finally done stitching it, and after all the screaming and crying, my knee was still injured. So the doctor gave us these supplies that we had to bring home to take care of my knee and treat it well until it gets better. Anyways, the good part of all of this is I got ice cream after, so that's great. Oh, and my friend, the one that I was at the park with, she got popcorn, and then she told me to wait outside, and that's when it all happened, right? So when she got out of the cafe with her popcorn, she couldn't find me. Obviously, she looked all over the school and still couldn't find me. She was super worried and practically told the whole school, and everybody in the park was looking for me. So when I got back to school, I told her everything that happened. And since that day, I couldn't really walk, so I had these crutches, good thing I got to use the elevator of the school. That's really VIP, because nobody gets to ever use the elevator of the school. Anyways, that's the story. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more story times.
Okay, if you play Roblox, then send this to your parents. Oh wait. Hey parents, so as you know, your child plays Roblox, and there's a reason they sent you this video. They were wondering if you can get them Robux. Now, before you say no, they have been really good, and whenever you ask them to do something, they do it right away. And they really, really wanted to change their avatar and get new things, because otherwise they'll always look the same, and it's a bit boring, don't you think? So, I advise you to get them Robux. They will be very, very grateful, and they'll be able to customize their avatar and get new things. And between me and you know they deserve it. You can't deny it. They really, really deserve it. So, I advise you to get them some Robux. Again, they'll be super grateful. I'm really happy. But yeah, and if you say no, why are you saying no? You know they deserve it. They are such good kids, and all they want to do is change a bit of their avatar. It's not anything bad. Anyways, bye. If you can't relate to this video, I cannot explain how jealous I am. So remember in elementary school when the teacher would leave the room for 3 seconds and the class would all go recess hyper mode? Say, for example, Mr. James had to go talk to the teacher next door. Then, all of a sudden, the class would be running around, paper planes would be thrown around, they'd be screaming, and it would just be hyper. And then, when Mr. James comes back, everyone's teleported back to their seats all of a sudden, and they're goody two-shoes. What?
I find it so annoying when you go to your friend's house and they say their room is super messy and dirty, and they're just ignore the mess. Sorry, I forgot to clean my room. So, you're expecting an unmade bed and a few clothes on the floor. Wrong! You go inside their room and it's literally spotless. No clothes on the floor, no shoes, no socks, nothing. Huh? What is dirty here? If that's messy, I would advise you to not come into my room ever. If that's messy, mine is a literal zoo and junkyard.